I made millions, but then I disappeared. No exit video, no speaking tour, no 10-part thread about my biggest lessons from selling a company. Just nothing. People thought I'd lost it. I didn't post, I didn't reappear, I didn't offer value to anyone, and I didn't care. Not because I was bitter, not because I was burned out, but because I had finally realized I didn't know who I was without the building, the doing, the proving. I had scaled, sold, succeeded, but I felt empty. Let's rewind. I started with nothing. Like most of you, a laptop, a little hunger, a huge chip on my shoulder. Spent years obsessing over growth, revenue, legacy. I'd wake up to DMs from clients in six different time zones. I thrived on momentum, on pressure, on being needed. And I told myself that it was for my family. But looking back, it was mostly for my ego. Because building isn't just addictive, it's identity shaping. You don't just run a business, you become the business. You're the founder, the operator, the guy who gets it done. And people love that about you until it stops working. So my company took off. We hit goals that I dreamed of for years. The kind of revenue that really does change your life and your friends. And then one day, someone made me an offer. And I said yes. It was clean. It was fair. It was over. And I felt nothing. Not pride, not joy, not freedom, just a weird stillness. Because when you spend 10 plus years sprinting, standing feels like death. At first I pretended to be excited. I told people that I was taking some time to think, dabbled a little bit in investing, advising, exploring what's next. But inside, it felt like I really fell off the map. Every podcast I listened to, it was about leveling up. Every founder that I knew, they were on to their next big thing. And I was just sitting on the floor organizing my garage. Not depressed, not even anxious, just completely out of sync with the world that I had built my life inside. I started to ask a brutal question. What if I don't want to build again? What if I don't want to be seen? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. So much of what we call ambition, it's really just fear in disguise. Fear of being irrelevant. Fear of being left behind, fear of feeling ordinary. So when I disappeared, I wasn't really rejecting success, but I was testing something. I wanted to know, am I still somebody if nobody's watching? Stopped posting, stopped checking numbers. I stopped optimizing every single hour of my day. And slowly, things began to shift. My mornings got quieter. I walked, I read, I played with my kids without a timer. I took naps, ate slowly, took longer showers. And the crazy part? At first it really felt wrong. I felt kind of guilty for resting. Guilt for not contributing. Guilt for not leveraging this new phase into something visible. I would check LinkedIn and see people I knew hitting new milestones, TEDx talks, book deals, new rounds. Felt like a ghost. Like I went offline and the world was moving on without me. But then, something surprising happened. The longer I stayed quiet, the more I began to hear myself again. Not the performance version, not the guy with the polished pitch, just me. I started writing again, not for clicks, but for truth. Picked up playing the piano again, not to be good, just to feel. I got present in my marriage, more present with my kids, present with myself. There was no external validation, no followers, no one clapping. But I started to feel human again. Unpackaged, unoptimized, alive. Let me be clear, this wasn't really like a spiritual awakening. It's not like I moved to Bali. I didn't delete the internet. I just stopped trying so hard to be impressive. And in that space, I found something that I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not the numbed out peace of distraction, the deep cellular peace of enough. realized that I'd been chasing visibility, not because I loved being seen, but because I was afraid of being forgotten. When you're nobody, you want to be somebody. But when you're somebody, you want to be loved for who you were before you became somebody. And when you disappear, you find out who still sees you. For me, the answer was my kids, my wife, a couple of real friends, and most importantly, myself. I've slowly come back online, but it's different now. No pressure, no grind, no algorithm games, just this. One person talking to another. No hooks, no funnel, no pitch. If this speaks to you, then you know what I mean. If you've disappeared or you wanted to, if you've stepped off that high performance stage and into the quiet, you're not broken. You're actually just healing. You don't need to rush back. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to make your peace productive. Sometimes disappearing is the bravest thing that you can do. And when you're ready, you can reemerge softer, smarter, calmer, and completely uninterested in chasing the wrong things again. I made millions. Then I disappeared. Not to hide, not to collapse, but to remember who I was before the noise. And if that's you too, welcome. You're not alone. You're just waking up. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel.